I got a call from a member and said something interesting. He said, I love the pumpkin plan. It's a strategy to dominate a niche and start growing. But he said, I want to be the authority of the niche. I want to grow extraordinarily fast. I want to be a living legend. And that was the words that stuck with me, that concept of a living legend. Well, over the last 3 years, I researched out what makes a living legend. You know, people like Elon Musk and the Tesla, Sarah Blakely of the, oh my God, I was about to say spandex. What was it? Spanx, not spandex, thank you. Yeah. Well, for me, she's not a living legend, clearly. I'm not a big Spanx wearer. Branson, you know, there's all of these names that come up, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Sarah Blakely, of living legends. And what they have achieved is that they've become such an authority that we all are aware of them. I am sure you didn't see a Tesla commercial before you heard of the first Tesla. I'm sure you didn't hear about a Spanx commercial before you heard about Spanx or the Virgin product line. Because that's what a living legend does. They catch momentum. They are in the right place at the right time, and the momentum of the market carries them. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to have the market carry your business forward so you can be a living legend in your industry and grow to any size that you want to. You know, it's this concept of being in the right place at the right time. I started my research by figuring out how do we put ourselves in the right place? Where do we position our business so that we can catch the momentum of the market? And it introduced me to a person I didn't expect. It was a woman named Becky Blanton. She was homeless. First by choice, and then it was forced upon her. And she taught me the concept of being in the right place. I found her through TED. I'm a big, any TED fans here? A lot of TED fans? Okay, yeah, TED is awesome. I saw her presentation on TED. It has 17 million views. It's one of the most popular ones. So I decided I'd interview her for this concept of positioning yourself in the right place, because she had found out a secret, a way to position yourself to catch momentum. And her backstory is she is a journalist, wanted to discover the challenges that homeless people experience, and decided for 2 months to experience homelessness. But her journalism didn't go the way she thought it would go, and after 2 months, she wasn't making enough income to return to her home, and it actually invoked another 16 months of being homeless. And she lived by finding money. I met with her for breakfast one day at a Waffle House, and we were in Virginia, and we got together, and she started sharing the story of how she can find money. And here's what she told me. And I don't know if you know this. If you find, or if I find like $10 laying on the floor today, I think the world has opened up to me. I think I am blessed by the Lord because there's $10 there. It's happened to me maybe once or twice in my lifetime that I found money, right? Becky finds $10 every single day because she developed a system. Here's what Becky told me. Becky says when it comes to finding money, there's these things called catch and hold points. I don't know if you knew this, but milk crates are like butterfly traps for cash. Literally, if you go outside a restaurant and someone is fumbling around with their wallets and some money falls out and it blows around, those milk crates catch money. She explained to me that if you go to a bus stop, inevitably you'll always find cash. People are trying to get onto the bus. Money falls out of their pocket when they pull out their ticket or maybe pull out the change, and the bus noise covers up the change falling on the ground. So every time the bus would pull away, Becky would just go over there, swoop up another $1 or $2 worth of money, put it in her pocket, and repeat the system over and over. But perhaps my favorite finding point, or catch and hold point as she called them, for money was furniture stores. You ever, hopefully you haven't done this, but your own couch, you ever kind of slide your hand along the crevices? You know, out comes like marshmallows and disgustingness. Sometimes a quarter. Well, when people go to the furniture store, they find that nice chair or couch and they kind of test it out, and they bounce around and say, oh, I like how this feels. And as they do that, money falls into the crevices. So what would Becky do? She'd go to furniture stores, run her hand along the couch, and pull out money. She built a system where she was finding $10 in every day, enough to sustain what she needed. If we put ourselves in the right place, our business in the right place, we have an opportunity to catch money. But we also need to do it at the right time. And perhaps my favorite story that I found out as I was researching my book was a guy named John Chapman. Perhaps a name you don't recognize, but I am confident you know John Chapman's story. John Chapman lived back around 1870. This was during Manifest Destiny. The United States was an East Coast colony, basically, and the belief had come about that it was the right of the new U.S. citizens to expand all the way from coast to coast. They called it Manifest Destiny. Well, back in the 1870s, the launch point for Manifest Destiny was Pittsburgh. So there's established civilization all the way up to Pittsburgh, but then once you went west of that, it was wild territory. Now think about the settlers that were launching from Pittsburgh, what they faced. They faced, first of all, an indigenous population that wasn't too thrilled that the white man was coming through. Secondly, they faced horrific conditions. The weather and stuff took so many people. And water was sparse. If you found water, it was usually bacteria-laden, and it was an absolute travesty. It would kill you. So bad water, bad climate, and really, really unhappy people to see you. Talk about tough conditions. Well, John Chapman observed the challenges that his future clients were facing. No water, dangerous. And what he decided to do was to set up a launch point in Pittsburgh. And this is how it worked. As people came through, he observed their behavior. What did they need next? They were about to go out there, and he noticed that the water supply was a real challenge. They brought a little bit of water that would last maybe a week, but they were going for months across to the California coast. They didn't have enough water to survive. And man, they were facing hard conditions. So what John Chapman did is he set up another station out at the next stop, if you will, from Pittsburgh, maybe say 60 or 70 miles out, or maybe a couple hundred miles, a couple days travel out. And what he did was he set up an apple orchard. Now, he was creating an apple orchard so that he could make apple cider, not, the apple cider that you may think I'm talking about. I'm talking about the really good stuff, the hooch. He made apple cider hooch. And why did people want this? They were flocking to his apple orchard because they were facing horrible conditions. First of all, they couldn't drink the water, but when there was alcohol in the liquid, it was digestible. There was no more bacteria. So now they had something to drink. Secondly, they were facing a population who did not want to see them. A little liquor made it a little bit easier. John Chapman continued on and set up over 200 or 300 apple orchards going out through the East Coast. He became a multimillionaire in the 1870s. Now, I know you don't know him by John Chapman. You probably know him by Johnny Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed was an entrepreneur of entrepreneurs and ultimately a living legend. He lives on today. Hundreds of years later, we still know that name because of his entrepreneurial genius. Put yourself in front of where the customer's going, and they will flock to you. And also, we know why he wore a pot in his head. He obviously imbibed in his own drink a little bit.